Have you got an old interior door knocking about somewhere? Well, if you have, why not turn it into this hallway seat and organiser? For this project, I'm going to start by making the box seat that'll get attached to the bottom of the door. To do that, I'm just using 18mm MDF. The first parts that I'm interested in really are the top, the bottom and the 3 dividers. I'm going to start by concentrating on the 2 end pieces first. So let's put the dividers to one side and we can have a look at the top and bottom. I'm going to start by drilling pilot holes along the 2 edges, on the top and on the bottom as well. Now before I add this bottom piece to the 2 side dividers, I'm first going to add a bead of wood glue along the 2 edges and then secure it in place with screws. If you do find at any point that the MDF splits, don't worry about it, just get some more wood glue and squeeze it into the joint. When it sets, it'll prevent the MDF from splitting any further. The design that I'm going with uses a centre divider and I'll be adding 1 shelf as well. I'm going to leave one of the cubby holes full size just in case we're going to put wellies or tall boots in there, but the other side will have a shelf in the middle so we can store regular shoes. And again, this has had a bead of glue down the middle and now I can secure it in place with screws. With the 2 sides and the centre divider in place, I can add a bead of glue all the way around and then get the back put on. Now we could leave the construction at this point, just let the glue dry with the screws, but I always think it's worth adding as much strength as possible. So I'm now going to go around and drill a couple of 8mm holes in each of the joints, add some wood glue and then add a wooden dowel. Hammering it flush will add a lot of strength. The screws and glue on their own, them okay, but wooden dowels with glue, them even better. With the dowels in place, the last thing I'm going to do in terms of construction on this unit is to add a batten that'll act as a support to the shelf. This was cut just from a scrap piece of the MDF and it's going to get attached with glue and screws. Now with any luck, I'll be able to rest the shelf in place on these battens. That'll do. Because I'm going to be painting the door, I'm not going to go mad and try and strip it right back to bare wood. Instead, I'm going to try and get rid of all the loose paint, get all the bits that I'm chipped off, take away the bulk in some of the areas where I can see that there's blobs of paint, then give it a nice sand all over to key the surface, and that should set me right for my proper coat of paint on later. So you know how I said I wasn't going to go mad? Well, I went a bit mad, but I think it did needed doing. I literally started peeling and I kept peeling. I've kept all the flat parts pretty much level and I'm hoping I can get away with leaving these internal parts as is. I will give them a light sanding by hand later and I'm hoping that the paint will cover a multitude of sins. But for these flat areas, it's going to be nice and easy to sand with an orbital sander. I'm just going to use a regular furniture paint for this because the door's always going to be kept inside and it gives a nice coverage. I'm applying it with a brush first so I can get in all the corners and then I even it out with a roller later. It's really quick doing it this way. I'm giving the MDF unit that I made a couple of coats of furniture paint. It covers really well on MDF and when you sand between coats it gives a nice smooth finish. Right, so I've got the door painted and I've got the MDF unit painted. Now it's time to put them together. I might have to take them apart again, purely based on the weight and trying to get it through the door and stuff, but at least like this I can make sure it all fits and just see what it looks like. Don't look too bad. I can get this attached now with some screws. I'm literally just going to put screws through the back so it's going through the MDF and into the solid wood door. I tell you what, I'm really pleased with how this is looking. I'm really glad as well that it stands up on its own, even with this heavy box at the bottom. I was a bit worried about it being a bit top heavy and toppling over. When I get it in place, I will obviously use a bracket on the back just to secure it to the wall, but it's a good sign that it stands up. What I've got left to do is I've got another MDF piece that fits the top of this unit. I'm going to add some foam, stick it down with a bit of spray adhesive sort of thing, and then I'm going to cover it with some material. Now, I'm not an upholsterer by any means, but I find that doing it in a separate piece like this, you don't have to worry too much about how it looks underneath, because it's going to get hidden when you secure it to the top of the unit with screws. So I just apply the fabric, add some staples on the back, pull it all nice and taut, do my best in the corners. Like I say, I'm not an upholsterer, so please don't judge too much. As long as it doesn't look too bad, it's good enough for me. With it all stapled round and secure, I can flip it over and then secure it to the top of this MDF unit with some screws from underneath. And with it in place, you can't even see the staples or the rough fabric underneath. The last thing to do is to add some coat hooks to the top, and that completes the hallway organiser. Pop the shelf in place and we're good to go. I am really pleased with how this has turned out. To say it was an old door that was just in the garage, I think it's definitely got a new lease of life now. Plenty of storage for shoes and other bits and bobs. We've got a place to hang the coats up. I hope that you've been inspired by this project. If you have, let us know in the comments down below. What are you going to do with an old door? I'd absolutely love to hear what you get up to. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to On a Budget already, make sure you click that subscribe button and then click the little bell icon next to it. That way you'll get notifications as soon as you upload a new video. Thank you all for watching. I can't get moaned at for leaving my shoes everywhere now, can I?